Hello, I'm Dr. Sarita, and I'd like to talk with you about the lens through which I view my diet now. The old lens I used to have with the food pyramid, I guess it could be like a pyramid behind me. The old lens I had when I was a child and I was taught the food pyramid versus the lens I have now, which predates the food pyramid, which goes back to my great-grandfather's wisdom. So the food pyramid, what did they tell me? Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Eat 6 tiny meals a day. A calorie is a calorie. Fat is bad. You can't eat fat. You should eat margarine. You should eat seed oils. And a calorie is a calorie. You know, that was the food pyramid. That was what I was taught as a child. The only problem is it was based on lies. You can ignore a lie, but you cannot ignore the consequence of a lie. So the food pyramid came out in the early 70s. I was taught this in 3rd grade. Doubled down in medical school in the 90s. I was taught low fat, olive oil's bad, saturated fats are bad, eat tiny meals a day, and we're just getting sicker and fatter and more diabetic. And I was getting sicker and fatter and more diabetic. So this other thing that I heard when I was a child, predating the food pyramid, when I was about 3 years old, I heard my great-grandfather say, grease is goodness, and if you eat too much bread and potatoes, you will get fat and sick. My great-grandfather's wisdom was not based on lies. My great-grandfather's wisdom was based on ancestral traditions and being a grocer for 50 years. He did a 50-year longitudinal study. He saw what people put in their grocery cart, and he saw what they ate. And I'm sure he lived through the Depression, so he saw people unable to afford meat and fat and saturated fat, and he saw them get fat and sick. He saw them get diabetic, fat, and sick, the people that ate bread and potatoes. And this was lost to me. And I remembered, it's like a chink in the story. Like the Truman Show. No, spoiler alert if you've seen the Truman Show. My mother was going to college. She meant very well. She was being taught low fat, don't eat meat, butter is bad, eggs are bad, skin on the chicken is bad. And I remember, this grease is goodness thing came out when she was questioning, why are you having all this, you shouldn't have the skin on the chicken, you shouldn't have this. And they were not changing their ancestral ways. They had a lens with which to view the world. This lens was there. This lens was, grease is goodness, fat is good. The saying was, come on over and chew the fat, years ago. Come on over and chew the fat, not come on over and eat a bunch of cakes. And they did not snack. They did not have whole grain things. There was a whole culture, a whole lens of how they ate. And it was based on thousands of years of tradition. They had sauerkraut, they had pickled vegetables, they had just a lot of different traditions. And my mother meant well, but she was teaching me something that was based on a lie. The food pyramid was based on lies. It was just corporate interest in disguise, and it was given a platform by my profession. And the tragedy is, I didn't know this. I was a physician. I was giving people dietary advice for years, and I was fat and sick myself. So my mother would have me take the skin off the chicken, and then we put it in shake and bake. So we took the saturated fat out of the chicken, and then we put it in chemicals and sugar. And she wasn't a bad person. I wasn't a bad person, but my lens was broken. The lens through which I viewed food was broken. And this is the thing that bothers me too. I just saw a lovely friend from years ago who remembers when I was fat and struggling. And she's struggling right now. And she said, I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. And I told her, F the fruits. F the fruits. Fruits are still sugar. You can take vitamin C. You don't need that much fruit. I do eat fruit, but I eat it for pleasure. I don't eat it for energy. I eat more fat meat and vegetables. And I do no disrespect to vegetarian people or people that are making a vegan diet work. I don't know how to do that. I welcome education. However, I've been a fat vegan. I've been a fat vegetarian. I have so many years left. I'm 56 years old. I just want to do what works. And what is the study for me? What is the data for me? The data is I knew I was in this environment. I saw what my great-grandparents ate, and I saw how they looked in their 70s. And my great-grandmother was able to walk, lift me up. She was functional in her 70s. I looked worse in my 50s than my great-grandmother looked in her 70s. So that to me, and I'm related to her, it's all genetic. Oh, it's all genetic. We're all getting diabetes because it's genetic. Well, how come our great-grandparents didn't have the rate of diabetes we do? Because they ate differently. People will say things like, oh, it's just because they smoked. Well, they weren't there. My great-grandparents didn't smoke. They didn't snack. And I think this is the other fallacy. They say sitting is the new smoking. That's part of it. But I also think snacking is the new smoking. I was taught to snack. I was taught to snack in 3rd grade. I was taught to bring in fruit and snack. And, I was being treated like a diabetic child. Diabetic children they didn't have a functioning pancreas. They needed to have candy if their blood sugar went low. I didn't need fruit. I didn't need fruit break or fruit roll-ups or whatever candy crap. And now, fast forward 50 years and I'm getting diabetes. When I look back on it, it's really tragic. And I could go and blame people and go, oh, why did the government allow this? This sucked. But on the other hand, it won't give me any more time back. It won't give me any more health. I can only move forward with my life, and I can reclaim things that were true, and I can celebrate the good that is here. I still get pleasure from my food, but I choose foods that like me. Again, I like carbs, but they don't like me. One of my patients was saying he was going to eat Fruity Pebbles. We all love Fruity Pebbles, right? We all love that. And he let it sit, and then he came back and he looked at it, and it was like this gelatinous goo. And he said, this is gross. This is not real. I want a sweet, but this is not healthy. And we've been gaslit into thinking cereal is healthy. I had another patient saying, oh, I eat Raisin Brand every morning. I'm super healthy. I don't understand. Raisin Brand is a dessert. Raisin Brand doesn't have any fat in it. It doesn't have any satiety, and it raises our blood sugar and it raises our insulin level. So it's hard to. It's a lens. It's a way to look at food, and I think too, like. I would get so distracted when I would look at all these. Oh, this has got antioxidants. Oh, does it have some special new ingredient here, or some turmeric, or it's got cinnamon, or it's got all these. The thing is, it really is about how does this food affect your insulin level? And I was getting to a point where I was getting prediabetes. I no longer had time to be distracted by the other things. And I think the lens that I'm using is working for me. I am not perfect by any means. I have days where I mess up, but on average, I basically eat 2 meals a day. I follow the greases goodness, and if you eat too much bread and potatoes, you'll get fat and sick. I also love the glucose goddess material, which really all points back to the same thing. Eat less frequently, eat higher fat, lower carb food. Protein is also good. Eat real food, and then have sweets and fruit for pleasure. That, I think, is really the bottom line to it all. So I thank you so much for your time and attention, for give me a chance to help and share my journey. I'd love to hear comments, subscribe. What did your great-grandparents eat? What ancestral wisdom did you hear that wasn't compatible with the food pyramid? And I really appreciate you. And take care. There's nothing wrong with you. It's what's wrong with what we've been through. And we've been through a massive gaslighting around food. Take care. Hope to see you in the next video.